He came to them with nothing, just a wind-beaten weary frame, a stranger placed beside their fire, no history, no name. But when she looked upon him, something gentle sparked to life. A girl of warmth and wildness saw a boy carved out of strife. She reached for him without a word, as though she somehow understood that broken things can glow again when met with something good. From that moment on, the moors would hold a pair the world ignored, two children bound by something deep the earth had never seen before. They didn't need to speak to know thoughts the other couldn't say. Their hearts learned how to beat as one in their own untamed, peculiar way. Hand in hand across the heights, running wild through wind and storm, two souls that hadn't met till then, yet felt like they'd been one since birth was formed. No brother, sister, name or tie could hold the truth they came to find. From the moment she stood by his side, their lives were woven, intertwined. Days turned into seasons, and the seasons into years. They learned each other's laughter, and they learned each other's fears. No secret ever left their lips the other didn't feel inside, for silence spoke in ways that neither ever had to hide. She taught him how to trust again, he taught her how to see the world beyond her window and the chains of her propriety. Two hearts that faded, tossed together, found a home within the wild, loving with an honesty reserved for something undefined. They never said forever, for forever was too small. The Moors themselves could testify they'd given one another all. Hand in hand across the heights, learning life in tandem steps. He needed her to breathe, and she needed what his presence kept. No rule or class could sever them, no border held, no law defined. For from the day they ran those hills, their souls were fiercely intertwined. Whispers rose around them, people stared and people judged. A gypsy boy, a well-born girl, two worlds the wise refused to nudge. But children don't believe in lines drawn by those who've never seen how love can grow in rocky soil and still rise higher than it seems. Their closeness frightened many, for it broke what should be kept apart. Yet what could anyone have done against the binding of their hearts? But childhood isn't permanent, and innocence will fade in time. The Moors that held them safe for years would one day have to draw a line. The world would call her elsewhere, toward expectations cold and grim. And though she loved him more than breath, it wasn't meant for her to choose him. Still, before the fracture, before the ache, before the moment life went wrong, there lived a pair of fearless hearts who once believed their bond was strong. Hand in hand across the heights, before fate tore the sky in two, they lived a life of mirrored souls who only ever needed us, not you. The world would come and change them and shatter what they'd come to bind, but nothing stole the truth of them. intertwined. Before desire turned to torment, before devotion turned to pain, they were simply two inseparable children, running wild across the moorland plain.
The rain was falling on the heights the day they carried you away. Your fingers reached for mine, but I could only watch you slip from day. You fell that day and lost your breath. The whole world seemed to spin, and strangers came to carry you to places I had never been. I watched them lift you from the ground, your hand still reaching out for mine. But they took you past the heather fields, beyond the wild we called our shrine. You vanished through a stranger's door, and I stood frozen in the rain, not knowing that the moors themselves were marking where we'd break in twain. Childhood shattered with that fall, and when they took you in their care, the earth beneath us split in two and left me standing lonely there. Every day without you was a wound that wouldn't heal. I waited for your footsteps, for a voice I couldn't feel. When you went where I couldn't follow, something hollow filled my chest. You breathed their air, you learned their ways, while I stayed anchored to the rest. You rose into a world of light, and I sank deeper into night. The heights that once were yours and mine were fading out of sight. When you returned, you looked the same, but something different stirred your gaze. Your dress was finer, voice restrained. You learned the manners of their ways. And though you smiled when you saw me, the moors between us felt undone. The girl who once ran wild with me had been replaced by someone gone. I reached to touch the memory of who we were before the fall, but silence settled in your breath, a quiet I could not recall. We used to speak without a word, but now your thoughts felt far away. You'd grown into a brighter world where I no longer had a place. When you went where I couldn't follow, your heart learned things I couldn't name. You found new rooms, new rules, new dreams, and none of them remained the same. I stood beside you like a ghost, watching the girl I loved the most slip quietly beyond my reach, across a life I couldn't teach. I hated what they made of you, or maybe what you chose to be. For every step you climbed with them drove deeper cracks inside of me. The world that lifted you so high left me below its closing doors. And though you swore our bond was strong, you walked on floors that weren't my floors. I feared I'd lost you to their light, that you forgot our windswept shore. And oh, how bitter freedom tastes when you're not standing here anymore. for you in the dark, hoping the old you might return. The girl who'd race me through the hills, who knew each wild twist and turn. But innocence had slipped away, the winds had shifted in your chest. And though you still cared for me, it wasn't like it was the best. You'd grown beyond our childhood vows, beyond the world that once was ours. And I remained the gypsy boy, still reaching for forgotten stars. When you went where I couldn't follow, a shadow bloomed where love had been. You found a path that wasn't ours, and I was left alone within. Yet even as the distance grew, my heart refused to let go of you. The moors remember what we lost when you crossed where I couldn't follow. Before the jealousy, before revenge, before the storm that broke us raw, there was only me, and there was only you, and the place where we last saw each other whole. Before the fall. On the edge of the wind, where the wild hearts break, you call to me softly through the storm and the ache. Two children of fire in a world made of cold, running barefoot through secrets the moorlands still hold. But they tore us apart, and they buried your name, left me wandering hollow with a fistful of blame. Every night I still feel you like breath in the rain. Catherine, Catherine, calling me again.
I was yours in the dark, in the broken and wild, in the rage of a man, in the soul of a child. If love is a ghost, then I'm haunted still, and I climb every night to that desolate hill.
I hear you haunting the moors tonight, your voice in the wind like a flickering light. You said I can't rest till I'm holding you tight. Catherine, my heartbreak, my shadow, my fight.
Let the world fall apart, let it all burn away. If loving you damns me, then damned I will stay. I hear you haunting the moors tonight.
I built up my anger like a house made of stone, but revenge is a kingdom where no one sits on the throne. Every whisper of hate still carried your name. I was drowning in fire and feeding the flame. But love like ours doesn't die when we die. It lingers in corners where memories cry.
And even in death you are still by my side. Catherine, Catherine, I hear you reply.
If I could break heaven, I'd tear it apart, pull you out screaming from where they locked your heart. If soul ties are curses, then bind me to you. I'll wander forever for one breath of truth.
I hear you haunting the moors tonight. Your shadow is pressed to my soul like a light.
You said nothing on earth could sever us right. Catherine, my madness, my wrong and my right.
Let the grave lose its claim, let the dark lose its fight. For love never leaves when it's carved into night.
I hear you haunting, haunting the moors tonight.
I hear you haunting, haunting the moor.